Hello everyone and welcome to Motorcyclegear.com. Today is a special day. I have always wanted to give the Triumph Bonneville Bobber a try, and today I get to do just that. So for those of you who know my riding history, you know that I started off on a cruiser, and that even though I now prefer sport or naked bikes, I still occasionally wonder about giving a cruiser another shot, or a bike like this one a shot. You know, something more relaxed and chill, something that's not all about speed like a sport bike is. So anyway, long story short, since the first time I saw the Bonneville Bobber, I had been in love with the look of it, and I always wondered if it could be that bike that would finally get me over the edge to buy something that wasn't a naked or a sport. Honestly, I've always admired and appreciated Triumph's full lineup of modern classics, but there was just something so special about the Bonneville Bobber. I don't know, it just kind of looks super cool, and I mean, you know, it's got the totally custom bike look going on while still being a factory bike. So I really dig it. So let's go ahead and dive into some details here and take a closer look at what this bike has to offer. Okay, so this is the 2024 model year Triumph Bonneville Bobber. This is going to be the jet black and ash gray color combination. A few other colors are available, like this one here with the tank is mostly one color with a different color accent, but then there's also ones that have solid color tanks, as well as all the different limited editions that Triumph has going on and off with their bikes. So starting price is going to be $13,995. The engine is going to be a liquid cooled 8-valve single overhead cam 270-degree crank angle parallel twin. It is 1200 cc's and it does put out about 77 horsepower and 78 foot-pounds of torque. So pretty even there between the power and the torque. It does have a 6-speed manual, 47mm show-off forks in the front, and an RSU monoshock in the rear. Brakes are well equipped with twin 310mm discs running Brembo 2-piston sliding axial calipers in the front and a single 255mm disc in the rear, and that one is going to be a single piston from Nissan. Tank size is 3.2 US gallons or 12 liters, and the wet weight comes in at 535 pounds. Alright, so now that we have the specs out of the way, let's go ahead and get back on the bike here. Right off the bat, I can say that I am super excited. Really have been waiting on this one for quite some time, really have wanted to ride one for quite some time, so really happy to be doing that today. So initial thoughts is that the seat right off the bat is much more comfortable than I expected. I fully expected it to be terrible, and one of those things where let's go ahead and stop here, red light, let these guys pass. What was I talking about? Oh, seat, yes, seat. Okay, sometimes I pull up to like a red light and I lose my train of thought, and then it's like, oh, let's get back on it. Yeah, so I fully expected the seat to be terrible. I thought it was one of those things that you just have to deal with, like if you want it to look cool. But no, it's really quite comfortable. Honestly, both from a sitting standpoint, but also from a position on the bike standpoint. Sitting here just feels like the right place to be on this bike. So, and then speaking of the seat, it is super accessible for most riders too. So even for the shorter riders, the seat height is a super low 27.1 inches. And then also I was surprised to see that the seat is actually adjustable back and forth, so you do have some room depending on how long your legs are and all that kind of good stuff. Also, power and braking are really good initially. It feels like there's plenty of power, and I'm sure I'll have a better analysis on it as I put more miles on this bike, but you know, initially from the first ride, it feels like the almost 80 horsepower is more than enough to move the weight of the bike around. And then the brakes so far feel great, and you know, that was to be expected just by looking at the setup. You know, before I took off on the bike, I felt like I had to be, you know, just by looking at it, it had to be good, right? I mean, you have a twin disc Brembo setup, usually it's going to be good. Also looking at this dash, or really more like single gauge here, it is very interesting. It's very old school and analog, but then at the same time, this bottom part here tries to provide this analog gauge with some features, customization, and a bit of a modern touch. We'll see how I like it as the miles go on, but so far I'm good with it, so it seems to be working, you know, just fine. Definitely taking me a moment to get used to riding a bike like this again. I've been doing so many naked and sport bikes lately that being on this Bobber is just a bit of a different experience. Much more relaxed, much more lean back, but honestly at the same time it isn't overly relaxed and really that far from a normal upright riding position, so it's, you know, it's good, but still a different feeling. So you know, I'm really kind of liking that right now. I will also say that without a doubt this bike looks amazing, and I say that both because I love how it looks, but also because of the amount of people I've already seen looking at the bike and checking it out as I ride past them. Even got a couple of compliments when I stopped for gas, and then again a couple more when I stopped for coffee. So really just a great looking bike overall. It's custom looking and different from your average bike. The floating seat, the dual exhaust, the overall classic looks, it really sets it apart. So not only am I enjoying riding it, but I'm also enjoying looking at it. So that's kind of a double win for the Bonneville Bobber here. Alright, one of the perks of editing, I'll get you guys past the red light and we'll jump back. We'll jump back here in a second. Alright, that red light was way longer than it needed to be, but well, let's get past this car here. Yeah, so like I was saying, for kind of a casual chill bike, it's got definitely plenty of pep. Like I needed to pass that car as my lane was ending, and wasn't a problem at all. Just hit the throttle and you got plenty of go to get where you need to be. Also too, handling feels good too. Granted, it's not cornering like my Triumph Street Triple RS would, but it's obviously a classic bobber style bike, not a sports bike, so obviously I can't compare it to that level, but it does really well, and it feels really balanced too. Not overly heavy or overly light, so kind of I use the word balance because it feels like it's got a good track to it. It doesn't feel top heavy, it doesn't feel like it's going to tip over, and then it just again doesn't feel that heavy. So far I'm really pleased with the way it's riding. And then also too, really happy with the sound for a stock exhaust. Obviously stock exhaust is always going to be quieter. Obviously regulations and rules that makes manufacturers have to kind of follow certain noise ordinances and all that kind of stuff, but normally I'm not a huge fan of parallel twin sounds, and I'm not a huge fan of stock exhausts, but considering both factors, I think the Bonneville Bobber sounds pretty good for a stock bike. And I think what helps a lot is that 270 degree crank. I think when a parallel twin has that, it sounds a lot better than your typical parallel twin, which kind of has a tendency to sound like a lawnmower. So I appreciate the decision to go with the 270. It does sound quite a bit better. And yeah, it's kind of nice every time you kind of pop the throttle a little bit, you can feel that little grunt. Something about this laid-back style and custom bike looks really had me interested, and I have to say that this bike has lived up to that hype. Overall, the performance for me in this bike is there. It's exactly where I'd want it to be. No, this isn't a sports bike or a muscle cruiser, so if you are looking for those levels of performance, you will be disappointed. But if you are looking for this style of bike and know what comes with that territory, it is really hard not to be happy. The 1200cc parallel twin sounds good, looks good, makes a good amount of power and a good amount of torque with a fairly equal 77 horses and 78 foot-pounds of torque. That is more than enough in basically the entire rev range to move this 553-pound bike, no problem. The suspension is more than good enough from a handling standpoint. Though I did complain that it was a bit bumpy and could be more comfortable, it still performed from a stability and handling point of view without issue. So just keep that in mind. Great from a performance and handling standpoint, just could be a little bit better from a comfort and bumpy road standpoint. The brakes are fantastic. They're more than capable enough and have a good overall feel. I really can't complain at all in that category, or really for any part of this bike when looking at performance. My only real solid complaints are 3 items. Again, the suspension could be more comfortable to allow for longer rides. The headlight, in my opinion, needs to be brighter, and it is a bit low tech. Yes, I did also mention that I would love to see Triumph fully commit to the custom bobber look and give this thing a bunch of cool accessories with things like forward controls and some cool handlebars, but all of that would just be icing on the cake. It isn't at all bad in the current form. So again, the suspension maybe just needs tweaking, proper settings for my size, weight, and riding style, or perhaps maybe it does need a rear suspension upgrade, but overall even that is something that I can live with. The tech piece, really it's only lacking if that is your thing or if the tech is what you're looking for, but if I'm being honest, if you are looking for a more old school and analog style bike, then this might just be the thing for you. And again, for me, no complaints here, but I do have to say that it is low tech in comparison, for example, to an almost $4,000 cheaper Honda Rebel. The Rebel has the ability to control engine braking settings, acceleration, power delivery, traction control, all that kind of stuff individually, plus has additional riding modes. So again, the tech piece is not a problem, but just something that I do want to know in case you are into having all that adjustability and those tech features that most 2024 bikes currently do have. And lastly, the weak headlight that I mentioned. Look, typically I never ride at night, so honestly I'm not sure that I care, or perhaps my vision is getting worse and I just didn't notice it yet. The numbers, the years keep on piling up, right? But honestly, I don't think the headlight would be a deal breaker for anyone, as it can simply be upgraded. especially in a design like this where the headlight is basically standalone. So all this thinking and talking boils down to one inevitable question: should you buy this bike? Is it good? Is it a good value for the money? And the simple answer is yes, you definitely should. Bonneville Bobber is just shy of $14,000, and yeah, that is a good chunk of change for a motorcycle, but again, you do get good components for the money, great custom bike looks, really good performance, and honestly the fun is there. For the entire time that I've ridden this bike, I have not stopped smiling and have really enjoyed my time with it. So again, I think the value for the money is there. So yeah, it's a great bike, and I think it's worth the money, and if you're in the market for this style of a bike, then I definitely think it's worth buying. Now, on to the more specific question: would I buy this bike with my own money? And yes, honestly, I would. Well, let me asterisk that, right? If I decide I want to get a non-sport bike, something more relaxed and chill, then yes, I would be buying a 2024 Bonneville Bobber with my own money. I give that asterisk. I'm not 100% sure that I do want to get a non-sport bike, but if I did, this would definitely be it. It really is a great bike, and I'm definitely going to miss it when it's time to give it back. Man, look at that absolutely stunning view. I absolutely love riding out here by the coast, especially on a bike like this one. Super chill, relaxed style. Bike is looking really good. The view is looking really good. I'm just simply out here enjoying it, so I hope you guys are enjoying it with me. Alright guys and gals, that's it for our review of the Bonneville Bobber. Be sure to visit Motorcyclegear.com, as we would love to help you out with your motorcycle gear needs. You can also hit us up via phone or email, and if you'd like to share your thoughts on this video or the Bonneville Bobber, feel free to drop a comment down below. Thank you all for watching. Until next time.